So Zach, I've noticed a number of analysts, even those that I respect, have become very bearish on Bitcoin. So I just want to finish with Bitcoin, which is that a number of chart analysts and YouTubers, they're claiming that Bitcoin is topped. I personally need to see proof by Bitcoin breaking support before I can become bearish. So I'm still giving Bitcoin the benefit of the doubt. But in your view, is it also the case that as long as Bitcoin remains in the uptrend above that trend line, I mean, what is your view? Do you think Bitcoin is topped? Or do you think that as long as we hold that trend line on Bitcoin, there's no sign of a top as yet? Which is my view, by the way, as well. I don't see the sign of a top yet in Bitcoin unless we break that trend line. What do you think?
Well, it's not even a trend line. It's the peak. The all-time high was 68,000 something. Half of that is 34,000. Took a while in H1 23 to get back above 34,000. There was a lot of dithering in the 30,000 area or the upper 20s as well. I know that people enjoy trying to throw stones at Bitcoin, and when everyone's bullish, then they're bearish, and when everyone's bearish, they're bullish. But in this case, we're above the halfway level, half of the all-time high. Bitcoin, we've been in a range recently. There's a pretty obvious uptrend line there over the recent past, and while we remain above that, I think it's business as usual in terms of a slow recovery. It's nothing spectacular. It's not like what we saw at the end of the last decade, but I think for me, it's a business as usual situation.
Do you think Bitcoin will eventually make it to all-time highs by the end of this year, or if not this year, by 2025?
I think the way things are positioned, it would be disappointing if we didn't get there by the end of this year, because you'd assume that as we get nearer to the old highs, more people would enter the market and create greater momentum. At the moment, it's not sort of on fire; it's just gradually improving. And so, by the end of this year or just early next year is probably a reasonable time for a revisit of the best levels. But in a way that the slower it is, the better. So you have more confidence in a slower move, and one that can sustain itself and not be susceptible to strange news or companies going bust or some other scandal that tends to hit this area.
Yeah, interesting point, Zach. The analysts and YouTubers, well, the analysts that are claiming that Bitcoin has already topped and that we're now going to drop into a major bear market, but their view that Bitcoin has topped just recently near 49K. I can understand what they mean, because what essentially they're saying, purely from chart perspective, is that Bitcoin rallied up to its 61.8% golden ratio retracement at 48,500, a level which I had in mind, by the way, last year, over many months ago. I think it was at the beginning of last year, I mentioned 48,500, 48K was my target, one of my key targets for Bitcoin. So they're saying, look, we've rallied up to that 61.8% golden ratio retracement near 48,500 and 49K. So they're saying, okay, it's done. Bitcoin is stopped. And now we're about to roll over and decline and drop into a downtrend. The reason why I'm disagreeing with those analysts is that Bitcoin has to prove to us that it's topped by breaking support. Until Bitcoin breaks support, I can't say that Bitcoin is topped. And I think it's a bit premature at this point. Even if they're right, I think it's too premature at this point in time to say Bitcoin is topped, because Bitcoin has not broken support yet. I mean, that trend line support, the support level that you mentioned as well, and we covered that in the member video, so make sure you go ahead and watch the members video, guys. We covered Bitcoin in detail with the wave counts and support levels and targets.
Yeah, it's also the case that even if it was going to go through, to the stars, there was always going to be a pullback from a 61.8.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bit like a pinball. It goes 61.8 and then it'll go back to the 50%, and then it go up to the 75.6%, and it'll do all that sort of, there's all these levels, right? So
Yeah.
not a biggie, not a big deal. If it had gone through, on the other hand, if it had gone through 61.8% in the first go, then you'd say, my God, this is the hottest market in town. It would be absolutely amazing from where it's been below 20,000. So I think it's done well. It's 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 in terms of how well it's done. And one has to just enjoy, hopefully, what is a slow, steady rise for this market.
Okay. So you're remaining glass half full, especially that we're now in a halving year, the Bitcoin halving year, which is likely to happen soon. What do you think about that? So Bitcoin halving coming soon. What is your view about that? Could that produce more upside momentum for Bitcoin, do you think?
Yeah, well, obviously, fewer Bitcoins in circulation, and harder to mine them, etc., etc. It's not rocket science in terms of, well, it is rocket science in a way, but it's not total rocket science in terms of what should happen there. I think obviously the market's anticipating that in the same way that the market's anticipating Fed rate cuts, etc. But we are still a couple of months away from the halving, and so we are still in the traveling mode rather than the arriving mode.
Thanks very much indeed, Zach. It's really interesting and appreciate it. Guys, make sure you go ahead and check Zach's Twitter feed, Twitter handle, at Zach's Traders Cafe. I follow him as well. Publishes great material there. And also watch Zach's weekly video, the members video, where he covers the charts of Bitcoin, crypto charts, and also Tesla as well. Thank you very much indeed, Zach. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.